So thank you for joining us for another edition. For this week's topic, we'll be looking at outside influences and how they impact your relationship.
Yeah. And if you're joining us, come say hello. Let us know where you're coming from. Wait,
Hi, Dean.
Oh, wow. So good to have you on, brother. That's awesome, man. Thanks for being on. So like I said, come say hi. Let us know where you're coming from. We'll just jump straight into it, because this is quite a big topic, I think, that impacts many people's relationship. In many ways, it can be kind of conscious and unconscious.
Yes.
How this can play out. And where do you want to start with it?
Well, we were going to start with social media, just how that impacts our view and our perception of what a relationship should look like.
Yeah, because we kind of, we all, as we get bombarded from a very young age, and we get conditioned and programmed to show us what relationship is supposed to be like and how it's supposed to look and how the man should be in that relationship, how the woman should be in that relationship. We have all these fantasies and romantic notions from a very young age about what a relationship should look like.
Yeah.
And our view of relationship become very skewed when we grow up. And especially in these times where social media is so big, we get an influx and overwhelm of information through media, TV, Facebook, Instagram. There's so many platforms that we see so many people posting about their relationships. So there's two parts to it. So it's what we learn from the media, like from cartoons or stories that we grow up, like women.
Fairy tales.
Yeah, so...
They don't ever tell you, with fairy tales, they kind of just show you the happy ending and where the princess and the prince finally get together and they get married, and what they fail to show you is what happens after that. So you have this romantic notion that it's all going to be like a fairy tale. And then when it doesn't show up like that in your relationship, you instantly think that there's something wrong.
Yeah. There's an automatic, this is how it shouldn't be. This is how it should be different, because that's not how I've been taught my whole life.
Exactly.
So...
Yes, Dean, it's the old paradigm.
Yes.
Definitely,
brother. And this is what we're all about, right? How do we step out from the old paradigm into the new paradigm of what relationships really are? And what we, believe relationships are, they're just a mirror to come more into ourselves and to have more love for ourselves and accept our unloved parts and grow together. And that's what relationships actually are here designed to do, so we can come more into awareness of ourselves and evolve.
So, like in rom-coms and all of that sort of stuff, you have this notion that you bring 50% to the relationship, the other person brings 50% to the relationship, and then you make together 100%.
Yeah.
And that's the old paradigm. But the new paradigm is that you bring 100% of yourself into the relationship, and the other person brings 100% of themselves, and you make magic.
200%. And that's where real magic happens.
It does, definitely, because you're self-responsible in that relationship, and you're not expecting that other person to fulfill that 50% where you're missing, because we have this idea that, I've got to find the one, and the one is going to complete me, and they are going to make me whole, when in our experience, we've both been in those situations where we thought that other person was going to make us happy.
Yeah.
And then until we got into this relationship, that's when we really saw that, no, you've got to make yourself happy.
Yeah. And until you do,
there's no room.
Yeah, there's no room, and you can't put that on your partner, like we've discussed this before. You can't put that amount of pressure to make you happy or to make you feel whatever you're incomplete with. Your partner is there to help you become aware of what's incomplete and to love that part and grow that part of you, whatever's incomplete for you. But in fairy tales, like we said, in movies, they show you that you make me complete. We have this notion that we wait for the one to make us complete. Like we're not enough as it is on our own, and we're waiting for the one to come into our life, and on the white knight in shining armor that comes and sweeps women off their feet, and there's this expectation of that, and women are waiting for that, whether it's conscious or unconscious.
Yeah.
And when that man doesn't show up in that way, then it's like, well, that's not the one. I'm waiting for my one. And then we miss out on that relationship.
And what I learned is that for women especially, because we hold these romantic ideas and, we have these fantasies of our men showing up like that, what I learned is that you're your own knight in shining armor. You are the only one that can save yourself. And that was the biggest takeaway for me. And that was like a reality check for me to go, oh my God, like all this time I've been thinking that a man's just going to sweep me off my feet and save me from everything that I've suffered through.
And fix all my problems.
Exactly, and fix all my problems, and everything's just going to be dandy. But
and it's going to be that fairy tale finish where we ride off in the sunset,
and then it's just going to be easy. That's the other perception that we have, is that relationships are easy. But it takes a lot of work, a lot of commitment to yourself, to grow, to take self-responsibility, to be self-aware to what you're bringing into the relationship. As we touched on last week with baggage.
So there's that aspect of it, right? And then there's that other aspect of, we see our friends or other relationships on Facebook posting their best photos of themselves, like having fun, and they're all connected, and we make up these stories that, oh my God, they must have this amazing sex, they must have these best relationships where they connect and they just talk and everything is good, and their relationship is just amazing. And we compare, a photo, a video, whatever, and then we compare our relationship to that. And then we diminish what we have, because we go, again, we have less than, we don't have enough. There's something missing in our relationship, which is such a skewed perception. And that's anything on social media, right? It doesn't go for
relationships. It doesn't just apply to relationships.
But this is why the depression is so high, because we compare our life, and it's just these images that everyone posts up there, and it's so skewed. It's not the reality. And when we take that and see it as reality, and we compare our relationship to those photos and images that we see, we diminish ourselves, and we close off our own intimacy and connection. Because once like we spoke last time, when we have judgment and comparison, all those things get in the way of intimacy.
They're barriers.
They're barriers to that. And this is so powerful, because like everyone knows, social media is huge, and if we go against that and witness our relationship, is just
through those lenses, you're never going to feel, and it's the expectation there too. Like you've got this expectation that it has to look like everyone else's relationship, or it has to look like the fairy tales, or it has to look like the rom-coms. And then you're viewing your relationship through those lenses. So anything else you discount. Your partner could be amazing, but you discount it because there's such high expectations of what it should look like. They fall short of that every single time. Because the expectation is unrealistic. Couples have their challenges. We have our challenges. We've gone through so much. But it does take work and commitment. It's not easy.
But it's so worth the commitment when you are willing to both grow, and like we spoke, not project and do all those things that in the old template people do, project and blame and all that. When you can kind of come together and be committed to your own growth, the relationship, as it becomes stronger, and there's challenges in it, but it's so worth overcoming them and dealing them in a way that opens you up instead of closes you. Because in relationships, people tend to close. There's this experience of closing, because there's things we hide. We want to, not share with our partner. We want to hide aspects of ourselves because we feel afraid to share those parts of ourselves, and then we close up. But what if you could have a relationship that opens you up, opens your heart in a way where you can share, where that opens you up, where you feel vulnerable, where you feel connected in your intimacy.
And it's also having a different perspective on what challenges bring.
Yeah.
It's like challenges are like an invitation. It's an invitation to bring more love and intimacy into your relationship in the way that you can communicate it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so powerful. Daniel.
Hey, Daniel. How are you?
So good to have you on, man. And it is, what just Annalie mentioned is so powerful. Any challenge, any trigger that we have come up is an invitation for you to learn something and see gold in that and be grateful for something. There's always, what's the word, like there's a golden nugget inside of that trigger, and it's for you to see that. Yeah.
That's powerful.
Yeah. Boom. Anything else about that you want to
say? Social media, no, I don't think so.
Yeah?
I think it was a real struggle for me in my personal journey in finding love. But out of all that, I guess for me, is seeing that there is a different way. There is another way, experiencing what we have.
Yeah.
I can see that that's not truth.
Yeah.
You know, like I can see that, and I guess we experience that so that when that love does show up in your life, that you can appreciate it for what it is.
For what it is, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, appreciating for what it is. Because each relationship has a lesson to teach you, has something to offer you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So did you want to move on to...
Yeah.
So other outside influences that we might have are friends and family.
Yes, friends and family. And for me, this was a big one before I got into a relationship with Annalie, especially with my family, like my mum and dad. Like I had a big connection with them, and every time I'd bring a girl or be in a relationship, it'd always be like, what do you think of them? Like it was kind of on a subconscious level, right? I'd always want the approval of my parents for them to say, yes, she's a good girl, right? And it was kind of on a subconscious, I was just walking around like, what do you think, Dad? What do you think, Mum? But it was there in the background, the fear there. If they weren't really fully in, like I could feel resistance towards that. Like I'd really take that in, right? Because we're so connected, and families and things like that, they have a big, especially ethnic families, because ethnic families are so close. I think this dynamic happens a lot in ethnic families, where, you know, there's that whole bring your partner home and what do you think, and what do you, and are you happy with it, all that sort of stuff. And I think that's more of I'm just generalizing, that's just my opinion, but I see that more in ethnic cultures. And this was a big thing for me, and it was a big thing to overcome when we got together, 3-4 years ago. 3 years. 3 years. 3 years.
Get your numbers right.
Oh, I'm going to be in trouble now.
Trigger.
Lucky we're on live. I'm very trigger happy, lol.
Love it, Dean.
Yeah, triggers, right?
Invite the triggers.
Bring them in. But yeah, and this was a big thing for me when we got together, because Annalie had 2 children.
I was a single mother.
We were different cultures. So that was a big thing. And, you know, my parents had their issues and their worries and their concerns about seeing other people. Like, they had friends that had split relationships, and they had families and mixed, and they just seen it was challenging, and they were like, why do you need these problems? And like, they had their worries and concerns, right? Which I can totally get. Yeah. Like, I can totally understand. But if I didn't have this awareness of the previous relationships, and I seen my pattern in how I play this out in my life, where I go and check, and if they're not happy, then I go, okay, maybe, and then I start questioning it, because my parents know better, right? And all that stuff. but it really took a level of awareness to see that pattern, to then go, thank you, and I'm going to go with this. I'm going to go with my heart because that's what felt right. And I think it's so important to tune into yourself and feel what's right. Because yes, we can have all these outside influences. My parents had their own judgments about their friends and how they experienced it. They projected their fears onto our relationship. And so many people do that, right? They go through their own experience, then they see people get together and they project their fears and their worries onto other people.
Yeah.
And then if we're connected, we listen to that. And it's so important to be aware of your stuff, to go, okay, thank you. You can listen to it. You can take it on board and see if it fits for you. If this is true, like you got to tune into yourself and go, is this true for me? For me, when I tuned in, I'm like, no, this is what I need to do. And it was my truth. And it took some time because I had a battle with that. Because I was like pulled and pushed in all directions, kind of like, do it, I don't know. And then I really had to come into myself and tune in and go, is this where I want to go? And then there was a clear yes. And then I commit.
And to add to that, it's like you use their projections like as a way to tune more into yourself. So it pushed you more into yourself, which is so important. You know, when you're going from an analytic point of view of like, how's this going to work? You know, like she's got kids and, you know, like I'm not ready to be a dad and all of this stuff's going on in your head. But those projections from your family were able to push you into your heart so that you could discern for yourself what is true. For you. Yeah. So it was an opportunity. So like, you know how we talked about the triggers being an opportunity or an invitation to actually know yourself more. Yeah,
because it definitely was a trigger for me. I'm like, how can you not accept her? All this stuff came up for me. So much like triggering happened. But I could notice that stuff and then and it took a lot of work, right? It took a lot of work for me. It took a lot of work on my parents' behalf. And it's lucky, I'm so blessed to also have some conscious parents, right? They came to a level of awareness and acceptance and, you know, it didn't take years. You know, I didn't have to go through it for years. And we see this where people struggle for years because there's no acceptance. But I think the most powerful thing you can do is tune in and be like, well, this is what I've got to do. And you got to do what's good for you. Because I was a lot of the time doing what's good for my parents. For others. And I had to come to a realization, I have to do this for me. Because if I keep doing this for others, there's no me there.
So you're putting yourself first.
Yes. In a very long time, I said, no, this is what I want. And for some people, I can get that it's very hard to put yourself first and go, no, this is what I want. Because then there's fears like, what if I make the wrong decision? Exactly. And she's not, and they were right. Oh no,
my God. And then your pride gets
hurt. I'll be disappointed. And my parents, and there's all this stuff, right? There's all that stuff that comes up. But you just literally just got to be like, this is a path I'm taking. And it's being okay with making decisions.
And if they don't work out, it's like what we said, every relationship is there to teach you something. So having the confidence and the faith and trust that this is what you need at this time. Because for me, if I didn't follow my heart with my ex-partner, if I didn't follow that, and because I experienced what Roman kind of was experiencing, but with friends, with my ex-partner, and I didn't listen, and I did go through the stage that once it didn't work, then I was like, oh, they were right and this and that. But in saying that, I had to go through all of that to actually come into myself and find self-love for me, which then led me on the path to meeting Roman. Ta-da! So it's like your heart knows what's best for you. Even if you doubt it, it's about coming more into yourself and knowing what's true for you. Your truth is your truth, not anybody else's.
Yeah, that's so
important. And people can project it on you. And sometimes, you know, if you are a sensitive, you pick up on other people's projections and then you can take them on as your own. But then you'll suffer because you're living through your parents or through your friends, and then you're never ever really going to be happy.
Yeah.
So it's so important to tune into yourself and really go with your heart and trust that even if it doesn't work out, it's what you needed, because there's lessons, there's gold, like Roman said, there's gold in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And it goes for the same thing as friends, right? We have friends have experiences and they have projections about their relationships and what's right, what's good, what's not good. And that kind of leads us into the next phase, right? What people tend to do is, in relationships, outside influences, we go and complain about our partner to our friends.
Or our family.
And especially sometimes we complain to people that don't support your relationship in the first place. So they were unhappy that you're together, and then because they're your friends, you have an argument with your partner and you go and talk to your girls about it that don't support your relationship already. And you tell them, oh, he doesn't listen, he's like this, he's a jerk, and then you go back and mend stuff together, and what tends to happen is your friends are left with that. They don't know what's going on behind closed doors. You just dumped all this stuff about your partner, and that's same for men, right? You go to your mates and she's a ball breaker, she's always on my case, and you go dump all this stuff, every little thing that she does. And then you wonder why they're always like, why are you with her? And every time you get together, and then she messages you, oh, is that her again, busting your chops? And then what we do is, when we talk about people, we create a reality of that person.
For your friends or your family.
Friends. So you might come back and fix and everything's great, but your friends and family have a reality, a view of that person. And it's so hard to change that. Once you say something, it kind of creates a view of that person. And then you go back, nah, she's not like that. And then it's already there.
And then your friends and family are left questioning and doubting that everything's okay because of their perception and their view of your partner.
Yeah. And it's not to say that you can't talk to anyone, but it's like, find people that are conscious, and it's not just about gossiping. No. Like, oh, he's a jerk, and they just, he's such a jerk. Yeah, you should leave him. He's a total jerk. And they support that, right? Instead of like having people that go, well, what's in the way? What's going on? They can be there for you, but not add fuel to your already upset.
Yeah.
They're more neutral about your relationship, and they can not take sides and just be like, maybe they'll take his side and go, well, what's going on? But it's neutral. It's not like they add fuel to your already angry
state.
Frustrated state.
It's like a non-judgmental space for you to be able to come to, which is why we feel it's so important to have supportive friends that are actually fans of your relationship, and who really get the connection and get why you guys are together, and like having that non-judgmental space where they can offer some medicine from their experience, or which I guess, did you want to add anything else to that before I go into circles?
God, I fell on the spot.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. I think that's it.
With the
complaints? No, I think that's it. I think, that's good. And you
can
go into that.
And this about like not being able to talk to, like, complain or anything, this doesn't go for people who, say, for example, are in an abusive relationship. So definitely, we don't condone that. Definitely go ask for help if that is happening to you. But this is more for people who are in relationship that are complaining about the little things of their partner. So I was going to lead into like talking about, having supportive network. And I feel like in this time, like for me, I'm feeling so much more that there is a need for space for women and for men to actually meet together and have a space for them to be able to talk about these issues, in a non-judgmental space where they can offer, like I said, medicine from their own experiences if other people have had these same challenges. Being able to support one another in their relationships, and having space for where women get together and where men get together, so that they have that independence
Yeah.
to go out and actually talk to I was going to say their own kind, but
Yeah, because you guys are weird as.
but to have that
Yeah.
same, similarities that you're going through. And
because we, as men, our women can't fulfill certain needs.
Yeah.
And we cannot depend on them fulfilling, and same as women, we cannot fulfill certain needs that they need. Only women can do that in circles, in groups, and that's same as men. We need to go out and talk certain things and talk in a way that we understand, because sometimes women don't understand our language.
which is why you see, like in some relationships, you see women stepping more into their masculine because they have to take on the role of the bro,
Yeah. Yeah.
And then with women, we expect our men to become more feminine, to understand us, and then when they don't do that, it's like, so that's why it's so important to have, the circle of women who understand you and the men who understand you.
And because you can go and talk things out and then come back and be complete.
Yeah.
And stuff is out of you and you don't have to dump that on your partner. And stuff like that.
Hi, Amy.
What's up, Amy? So good to have you on, huh? You. And we do see the importance of that, because like I've done men's groups and it's so powerful when I can go away and work on myself and deal with this and talk things out and actually be with men and talk about men stuff and have that. It's so powerful and it's so healing for men to do that. And it's so lacking right now. And that's same for the sisters, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm all for women's circles. I've experienced many circles, and being able to be vulnerable and held and supported by other women who get you and love you and are non-judgmental and have compassion for, and feel you.
Yeah.
There's something so healing about that. And when you can have that space, you can come back into the relationship and, like Roman said, you feel complete, that you don't have to project the need from your partner to fill that void that you have, or that longing that you have to be felt and understood.
Yeah, it's so important. And we're seeing that, and we're going to be starting to do this actually. We see we've kind of got comfortable in doing this together. Right? So this is kind of easier to do this together, and we see the need for women's work and men's work individually. And we know it's for our own benefit. Our growth and development to go out on my own and to really step into my true masculine and have the balance of the divine feminine to come in, because it's easy to do it with her, to talk about this stuff, right? These energies and feminine energy and stepping into that, but to step out as a man and talk about feelings and emotions and, crying and sitting there and meditating, that's not right. That's not what a man does.
A man.
And it's like there's this fear of like stepping into that and being less of a man. And it's like, if I can't do that, what hope do other men out there have who aren't as conscious, who are just starting to wake up? Because men are so struggling right now, because women are waking up.
Yeah, we are waking
up. And men are struggling because, like, what the fuck is going on with the women? They're like, they're crazy. Like, they're just waking up, they're moving, they're, shifting things, they're awakening, their perception has changed, and men are like, fuck, how do I deal with this? So I see the importance, because I struggle with this, not being able to communicate and open my heart and share my emotions and be closed off. And it's difficult to be in a relationship when you're closed off and you don't know how to share your emotions. You don't have the tools or the resources to be able to do that. So we see the importance to step out and support the men and support the women.
Yeah, because it's a very powerful thing when you can step into your own power and bring that into a relationship.
Yeah, because we grow together, but we see like we've grown together, but it's like we also now need to grow separately,
individually
into our own selves, but also that will bond our relationship so much stronger, because we'll be becoming stronger as individuals also, and coming together is just like
fireworks.
and that's exciting, right? So that's like the next level for our evolution, the next level of where we're heading and stepping up, because we always have to up our game as coaches and to support our clients. And if we're just sitting and comfortable, this is easy, it's like we need to start stepping up. So this is something going to be exciting. So you're going to see a lot more of Annalie doing videos, and you're going to see me doing some videos and stuff like that. So
what does Amy say? And just give you space. You just said that. LOL. I love you guys. So happy you're out there. Oh, thank you, Amy. Love you.
So good to have you. Love you, Amy. Is there anything else about that you wanted to say?
No, I think we've pretty much covered outside influences and how they can impact relationships. If anyone's got any questions, if you're watching the replay, just post them in the comment box. We'll try our best to answer them for you. I think we've got another comment.
Dean, always loved your sharing, Roman, in my space, brother.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Thanks, Dean. It's always a pleasure to be in your space, man.
Yeah, you hold such great space. We love you.
Yeah. Thank you for what you do, Dean.
Absolutely.
It's so needed. So definitely got to sit again.
Yes, it's been calling actually. So I guess we will end it there, and
you
we'll just
say what's next week.
Yeah, so join us next week. It's the 22nd of March at 7 p.m. again, and we'll be looking at codependency.
Yes,
huge
another big one.
Something I know very well. That's it.
Yeah.
Have a good night, guys.
Thank you,
Bye.
guys. Take care.
Thanks for joining.